Welcome back, guys. This is week 3 of our podcast. My name's Isaiah. And these are my two co-podcasters. Would you guys like to drop by and introduce yourself for those who are new?
Go for it, Tino.
Well, you guys know me from last week. I'm Tino.
And I'm Abel. Really excited to be here, guys, and just talk it up.
And we're the Breakaway Trio. This week,
Breakaway.
the Breakaway. We're gonna be talking about NBA news, primarily some of the trades that have been happening as of late, which have been quite crazy. So I just want to get everyone's thoughts on this. We'll start with the Giannis trade. That was when I was kind of talking to my dad, like 2 days ago about. You guys think it was a good trade, bad trade? What do you think?
Tino, you go first, man.
I think it was, I wouldn't say necessarily a good trade, but it was a decent trade on both ends. Because, like, let's be honest, Giannis has been pretty lackluster these past couple of years. He's definitely not operating like he was when he won the championship. So I think having, new scenery and new coach is definitely going to benefit him. And then, of course, Milwaukee got, what they got one or two players and a bunch of picks, dude. A
They
bunch
got
of
three
picks.
players, three players, and a shitload of draft picks.
Yeah, yeah. I will say though, like a good majority of those draft picks were just swap picks. But I mean,
Hmm.
still, if Miami tanks for some reason this year, they'll definitely come out on top on that trade.
Yeah. Abel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think my biggest concern about Miami is I think their spacing, right? Obviously, they got a Tyler
Hmm.
Hero. Um, and so, I don't know if like Bam is like that much of like a 3-point threat. I mean, I'm sure he can shoot a little bit, but like with Giannis and Bam both on the floor, I think it's gonna mess up their spacing, you know, pretty bad, right? Getting a hero is a big deal. So I'm worried that Miami Heat doesn't have enough guard power, but it really could just be there's planning to make some splashes this summer. I've even heard about LeBron maybe perhaps joining Miami as well, which I think would be pretty crazy.
Hmm.
So
But once
yeah,
again,
bro,
I don't
going
like the
back to the
spacing,
dark side days, dude. Shit.
right?
That'd be
I'm just
wild.
concerned about the spacing. I do think the Bucks made a very good trade, though. I mean, they got some really good young players, right? So I think the Bucks are more focused on the future. Miami, he seems to be all about win now, but I'm pretty concerned about the spacing. Um, that's I would say that's the biggest issue for me. What about you, Isaiah?
Oof. I don't like the trade. I like the trade for Milwaukee. I don't like it for the Heat.
Mm,
Milwaukee got quite a bit out of it, which is awesome. I mean, that gives them plenty of good players to kind of build around. A lot of young developing players that have kind of had a couple of years in the league to kind of to build themselves up. Kellaware, who's
yep.
a center, I believe. That guy going to the Bucks and now having a space where he can kind of shine that's outside of Bam's space, I think is going to be
Mm,
a really good unit for him to be with. Um, but like you said, spacing's kind of that huge thing. Like if Giannis can develop a three-pointer and shoot about league average, which is I think is about 36.5%,
mm,
which is crazy to think. But 36.5% from three, if he can get at least close to league average shooting wise, I think that helps that team become a little bit more lethal. But then you do run into the issue of no guards. So,
yep.
do they run out? Do they go grab Lonzo Ball? Because he still hasn't really been with anyone. And that's a
Yep.
cheap pickup right there, who you could get a lot out of. I mean, he's a 3D player that you can use, that has some good experience in the league that could help benefit that team a little bit more. Um, but I don't know. It's tough. There's not really many guards out there that you can go get that would be beneficial to adding that team. So it's like,
Mm,
do they run out and get Braun because Lakers haven't done that? But then it also comes down to the conclusion of where is Braun going? Does he really want to go spend time with the Heat, or does he want to go do his final rally with Stephen Curry in Golden State?
mm.
Um, so there's a lot. I think it's more of a win for Milwaukee. at the end of it, I think Milwaukee like in grading wise is probably like a B plus, A minus in this trade, and I feel like the Heat, even though Giannis is really good, I as Tino was saying, he's kind of been a little lackluster the last year or so, and there's only so much you could do bullying yourself through things, especially as you get older. Your ligaments and everything kind of gets weaker as you get older. So, with him, I'd probably say it's probably a C plus for the Heat. I don't really
Mhm.
see it. So I guess we'll see how the season plays out. But personally, I just didn't like the trade for the Heat at least.
Well, I think Giannis might have already hit his peak already. Because he's what, 32, I think? How old is Giannis? Do you guys know?
I have
Not right
no
off the top of my
idea.
head.
No,
Let's look it up.
but he definitely had his time where I mean he got that championship.
He
He brought
did.
Milwaukee their first championship in a hot minute. Um, but then I mean after that, I mean he was doing good. It's just you run into the injury issue with people like him. As you see like Russell Westbrook, that
Yeah.
or Blake Griffin, that explosiveness only gets you so far physically, where now you have a dramatic increase now with size and centers and players. So now you're no longer running into a lineup that may be 6'2", 6'4", 5", 6'6", between 6'6", 6'8", and then having your power forward and center being somewhere between 6'9" and 7 foot.
Mm.
Now you're starting to see an like increase of 7 plus footers or having
Got a
multiple
bunch of
seven
Wembies
footers on
out there.
teams. Yeah, like there's
Aliens.
just been a increase of 7 footers in the league now. So now you're not running into one team that has like a 7 foot player. You're running into a team that may have two 7 plus footers playing defense down low.
And they can shoot.
Yeah. So it's becoming a different league. And the best way to kind of grow with that and seeing how Giannis handles this is if he's able to develop that three or develop some type of game in the mid range where at least he
Mm.
can kind of be able because he's a strong guy. So if he's able to develop a post fade or some type of midi pull up, I know the mid range game is basically a dead art for the NBA where they mostly either say you're either taking a dunk or a layup or you're shooting the
Yeah.
three. We're not doing no middies. So it all comes down to how Giannis develops his game this summer.
Well, I guess, I'm wondering, because, you were a big man in high school, right? What have you seen kind of changed about how the big man plays, as like when you're in high school to now? Do you think it's about the same? Or is that, well, what do you think, Tino?
Well, I mean, I couldn't really make any comparisons to the NBA because, like, obviously, if I played in the NBA, I'd have been a small forward. I'm
Hmm.
6'6", right? But
Yeah.
I guess the way I could compare it to the way high school is nowadays, there's definitely a lot more bigs that are trying to be outside threats rather than playing, the bully ball down in the middle. Like me, I mean, I could shoot the three. I think I maybe shot like 4 or 5 3-pointers my entire high school career. I made three of
Uh-huh.
them. Best percentage on the team. What's up?
60%.
Um, but like my bread and butter was definitely posting up because I had a
Mm.
bag of post moves, and as you guys know, my best post move was the baby hook, bro. That was my bread and butter right there, dude. If you
Hmm.
weren't making the baby hook, bro, you were getting reached across the body and getting fouled and going to the free throw line. Like it was a
Right.
win-win no matter what.
Hmm.
But yeah, these high school kids are definitely, and no shame at Steph Curry, but let's all be honest, that's kind of when it all started. When everybody
Hmm.
started wanting to be 3-point threats, is when
Yeah.
Steph
Yeah,
was, breaking records and shit.
he's
But
torching the league.
yeah, but if they're only working on their 3-point shot and they're not working on their post moves, are they really that much of a threat? You know what I
No,
mean?
man.
Because like
Yeah.
Yeah.
then, if you ain't got your big man down in the post, you ain't got nobody in there rebounding. So now he's just
Mhm.
chucking up bricks and you're not getting anywhere. So like, you know, I always tried to make it a point. Yeah, I worked on my 3-point shot, but I try to work on both of them. So that way I'm a dual threat.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
yes, when I pull out to the 3-point line, don't take 2 steps back because I'm gonna bang this shit right in your mouth. But also, if I'm posting you up, bro, you better be playing good defense because I'm about to drop my nuts on your face.
Bam. On some
Six
Shaquille O'Neal
six
type shit.
6 footer, everybody, the 6 footer. This reminds me of like the NBA Finals. I don't know if you guys were watching the entire NBA Finals,
Oh, I
but
watched the whole thing, bro. I was hate watching though.
Same.
I was
Facts.
frustrated watching Wemby play a little bit because I thought he shot too many jumpers, too many like outside shots. When
Well, I also thought that like a lot of the times it didn't seem like what's his name, the coach.
Miss Johnson
Oh,
was it?
Yeah, Mitch Johnson. It seemed like Mitch Johnson wasn't trying to make a game plan around Wemby,
Mm,
which is what I would have done. I
you're
would
right.
have had him like it was just a lot of pick and roll and let's see if Wemby crashes to the board or if he pops back out. But like we
Uh-huh.
should have been running a lot more plays that had Wemby involved, whether that was getting him out to the 3-point line to take a shot or getting him posted up on a solo in the paint. Like
Mm,
what was it?
well,
Game two, Wemby had like 14 points or something like that. That was atrocious,
yeah.
dude.
yeah.
So the one thing that I've recognized in play, so like the Thunder series, for example, there was a couple of games where Wemby was getting he was taking mostly outside shots. Now, don't get me wrong, man's a very good, consistent shooter for being 7 foot plus. He's definitely a lethal shooter. My thing is though, there comes a point where you're that height and you're not really helping. Like oh my God, there was a couple of games where he was just shooting and he wasn't hitting, but he was letting those
Mm.
shots fly mainly because that's what shooters do. They shoot.
Yep.
But the thing with him is that like when he's not down there to grab a rebound and he's not on fire and he's not hitting those shots, he's doing a little bit more harm,
It's just a
especially
dead
against
possession.
yeah. So like the tough thing is when when the Spurs had finally made that adjustment against the Thunder, what you saw more of was pick and rolls, and then whoever the point guard was, whether it was Stephon Castle, whether it was De'Aaron Fox, whether it was Dylan Harper, they would be able to mess around with the three, the midi, or float it or finish at the rim. Or if none of those options were available, pick and roll, off the roll, toss the lob up to him, and he could touch the rim without even having to jump. So you toss that up there, all he has to do is catch it one-handed and slam it down. And
Mhm.
that's what they were doing a lot more of past the games, on the last couple of games that they played against the Thunder, which caused them to win because
Right.
that was the game plan. I mean, how's that? That's like LeBron driving to the rim almost every time. Braun in his prime was so unstoppable. This man could Euro step his way through four people and finish at the rim and do that all game long, and that would be just free points every time. The same thing could be done with Wemby, but I think as they got into the Knicks series, I think what had happened is when they beat the Thunder, I felt like that was their peak. Like
Mm,
that was their finals. And I think they got so excited because, hey, we just beat the reigning NBA championship or champion team from last year. This is supposed to be the best of the best. And I feel like once they beat them, that was in their head. Like, we're the best. We're going to win this next series. It's going to be easy, or we're not going to have any issues kind of going into it. Which in that first game, they were doing really well with their young team. Even the coach is young, and he has a hard time figuring out uh, player rotation. Because a lot of like what you saw was just they would get into a really hot streak, and then once they came back from the second, or, once they came back from break, it was a whole different team, a team that didn't play consistent, a team that was lost out there, a team that was just trying to force shots because it was going in the first half, you know. So it's just like you had a lot of like possessions like that, especially with Wemby, that were just like you're not playing against the same team. This isn't something that you can just kind of force up and do, and that's what they were doing. They were just forcing a lot of shots that like weren't smart shots. They could have gotten better shots if they would have been like they do so much good passing. They play Spurs basketball pretty good in the first half of every game that they've played against the Knicks. And then it falls apart in the second half because they stop passing the damn ball.
Yeah.
And it's more of like I'm just gonna drive and take it. Oh, miss it. Okay, we're going back down. They're passing the ball, scoring the rock. I mean, Brunson's one of those guys where you can't even leave him open. And even if he's guarded, that man's still getting a shot up and hitting it in your face.
That dude's barely
So
6 foot, bro.
dude, it's crazy. That man's a bucket
I know.
getter.
Yeah.
So just kind of seeing how like there's definitely gonna be a lot of progression with the Spurs team, especially with their additions from the draft. They got some really good defensive players that I think are going to add some depth against or with Wemby. But yeah, that whole series was sad. I was expecting more of a fight from the Spurs than anything. I was hoping it would go
Yeah.
to like maybe a 6, 7 game series,
Yeah.
and then it
You
ended the
know,
way it did. I was kind of disappointed.
Tino, do you think that was a mental game by the Spurs? Like a mental loss after that Thunder series?
I don't
What do you
think it was a mental loss. I think it was just inexperience. They're a young
think?
team, you know. Like
Uh-huh.
I think it was every game of the series, the Spurs started up going up like 10-15 at the
Yeah.
beginning of the game. And then like Isaiah was saying, second half came around and it just all fell apart. They definitely are so young that they couldn't finish the games. You know what I mean? They
Hmm.
weren't able
Yeah.
to come up with game plans to keep the ball rolling, to give different looks and to keep scoring. They just kind of kept running the same stuff. And, they've got experience over on New York side. So when New York
Hmm.
went into the half, they came up with a game plan to stop what the Spurs were doing, and it worked.
Mm. Yeah,
I
it might
mean,
just be
dude,
the
they
coaching as well.
the Knicks literally overcame a 29-point deficit. Like, when you're up 30 points on somebody, it's like a 99.9% chance that you're not going to lose that game.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought, it's definitely a lot of inexperience, but I just felt that the coaching messed them up the most, you know. Like I think all those guys are capable of like finishing the games like as young as they are, right? I mean, obviously they're all really talented. One mistake that I saw, for example, is taking out Dylan Harper when he's on fire and putting
Yeah,
De'Aaron Fox
Yeah.
in. I do
yeah,
not
Yeah.
understand that, dude. Like that's not an experience. That's just like a mistake. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean, obviously you can see it, especially that last game, man. Dylan Harper was just going off, but
yeah. And I'll
for
be
some
honest, dude,
reason,
Stephon Castle was not doing a damn thing that last game.
offensively, defensively, I thought he was still there though.
Well, I
Wasn't
mean, he was, putting his body on Jalen Brunson for sure defensively, but he
yeah,
was doing that all series, but like Stephon Castle is a great finisher at the basket.
yeah,
And it seemed like he had no interest in that last game in trying to drive and get to his spot and get a bucket.
Mm.
yeah. I mean, I think his only points came from free throws, wasn't it? Something like that. I mean, he had like one dunk, I remember, at the end there, but other than that, it was just like four free throws, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, I don't know, man. That was to me that what pissed me off the most is that Wemby is like 7'5", bro. He's that tall, right? And I just don't understand why. Obviously, I know he can shoot, but I feel like there's moments where like all they had to was just throw it out there and let him just dunk it. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
And
see,
I just
like that was
thought,
another thing too when it came to the Knicks series. I felt
mm,
like Wemby was reading the picks
yeah,
completely wrong.
tell
Like
me about it.
anytime Cat came up for a double team to hedge on the pick, Wemby should have immediately cut to the basket. But instead, he was kind of, he took a couple steps in and then popped back out to the 3-point line. And I was like, nah,
Mm.
dude, if your man comes up and hedges that pick and roll, bro, you got to immediately cut to the basket because the next person that's down there is fucking Alvarado or Josh Hart,
Exactly.
and you're going to be able to
Mhm.
jump over that dude. But
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just coming from a big man's perspective, dude. I felt like he was reading the pick and rolls completely wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, I think he wanted to shoot more. He's wanted to shoot instead of like he had more interest shooting than dunking the ball for some reason. You
Well,
know.
I think too the same thing is Cat's a different type of center than what Chet was. Because like
Mm,
Chet's just tall and lanky, so he gets away with a lot of things defensively. But when you paired Wemby, who spent time actually working on his game and actually developing and becoming a lot more stronger, and Chet, I feel like has just been riding on the wave of success from his
Bro,
team.
Chet is just a tall Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, like he
all
when he
Abraham
first came
Lincoln, bro.
in, when he first came into the league, he was definitely really solid, but I feel like he hasn't really done much to progress his game just
Hey, dude.
because he's tall. So there's all he's got to do is catch and shoot and grab rebounds. Those are his big things right there, and play defense down low.
Mhm.
But Cat, he's been in the league for a hot minute. He's also
Yep.
tall, but he's not like
He's got some mass,
skinny.
bro.
He's got
Yeah,
some
he'll
mass to
he'll
him.
he'll
So
bump you around in the paint for sure. Hey, but I will say, bro, Cat was hooking all series, bro.
I think there's a lot to be said about what was happening on both sides for this series
Both
Bro,
sides.
itself.
he was
Both
hooking
sides.
like crazy, dog.
Yeah.
Both sides. I'll say
Yeah.
both sides. You know.
I'd say it was all, and I could say it's not just for those teams, it was for the whole playoffs. There's a lot of calls that don't
Yep.
get called. Um, which, I feel like once it comes to the playoff time, I feel like it's tough because I hate OKC made me hate basketball just because of the fucking flopping. That's my big thing. I
Hmm.
hate the flopping components to it, and
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
it's become so much part of the game of like
It's
how
it's
much
worse
can I
than
act when
LeBron,
I
bro.
take. Well, the tough thing, I hate LeBron. Don't get me wrong with the whole flopping and shit. It's stupid. You a 6'8", 250-pound man. No way in hell should you be flopping at all.
Ah,
But, what was that? I saw some Sports Center thing that like if he took any contact that any player was giving him, it's like them bouncing off of a concrete wall. That's just how solid of a man he is, which is crazy to think. So as he's driving up, taking this contact, he's not getting bumped at all. It's them getting bumped off of him.
and he flopped
So
it.
so he has to flop it to get a foul. Otherwise, there's no fouls being called on Braun, like or on
Mhm.
anyone going on Braun. But like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, for one example, man's an absolute bucket getter. He's got a deep bag. There's no way in hell this man should be flopping the way he does on
He's too
pull-up
talented.
jumpers. This man is taking it and then going and then flopping onto the ground and then looking at the refs going, "Where's my foul?"
Yeah, dude. And the best example of that, dude, is if you go watch his footage, like his highlights from when he first came into the league, like when he was with the Clippers and stuff, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Mans was not flopping at all, bro. He was getting to the basket and jamming like crazy. And then all
Easy.
of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, he starts flopping and all this crazy stuff, bro. It's ridiculous. I don't know if it's
Because
like
they
a
call it now.
culture or something, but
It's the
He flops
superstar.
more than James Harden, which is crazy because Harden flopped like a
yeah,
motherfucker in his
He
yeah,
time,
dude.
dude.
invented it. He invented
Yeah.
it.
Dude, prime Harden was scary. The way people were guarding him with their hands behind their back, because
In the
if they
back.
lightly tapped him, it was a foul and he was going to the line.
Yep.
That was crazy. But I don't know. I feel like once we with the whole Wemby situation, I feel like with him and that team in itself, especially with the coach, there's a lot of growth that comes from this moment. It's definitely a very peak situation for the Spurs organization because not many young teams make it this far in the playoffs. Like you
Hmm.
look back to the Celtics and how young they were, and it took them 3, 4 years
Finally won.
to really get into the finals and win.
Yep.
So, the fact that the Spurs have made it with this young team who still have a lot of like kinks to work out in their own games and figuring out how to play the game a little bit better as a team, but also developing a little bit more individually, adding a little bit more into their bag, developing their shooting a little bit more so they're much more consistent under pressure. I feel like is a lot of things that takes place in that time. It's just a lot of, and then especially on like the coaching side, as a coach. I get where he's coming from, especially with De'Aaron Fox, because statistically, at one point, De'Aaron Fox, there's a reason why they brought De'Aaron Fox onto the team. Do I like the reason why? The money they spent on him? No,
Expensive.
I don't. I think it was way too damn much. But De'Aaron Fox at one point was very, very, very good. And I'm thinking what was happening in whatever the coach's name was, um, is that he was going to get a clutch De'Aaron Fox in the playoffs. Now, don't get me wrong, he was slightly injured, but some of the decisions he was making offensively wasn't helping the team at all. And Stephon Castle also wasn't helping the team with how many turnovers that man was getting every game.
Yeah,
Yep.
So that man also needs to develop. Develop his playmaking skills. I feel like Dylan Harper was that man that if you gave him that time, uh, and let him really like flourish on that team,
bro, he should definitely be
he
starting next year.
he
Bro,
should.
they're saying that Dylan Harper could be a James Harden situation. Remember when he was back in OKC, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a very talented six man. He might just leave with another team and be the starter there if they don't give him the spotlight. Because I was
Well,
reading
the tough.
some reports and it showed that the team is very committed to De'Aaron Fox. What do we think?
I mean,
I
they
guess
spent like 200 and something $1 million on him,
250 mil.
which is ridiculous. That man is old. He's not worth the money that they spent on him at the time that they did. Now, I don't think they were expecting Dylan Harper or any of the young guys to really step up and be as important to the team as they were during this playoff run. But Dylan Harper is one of those guys where he's a dog, like
Yeah, dude.
offensively and
Yeah,
defensively.
bro, he can get some
Like,
clamps on defense.
Yeah,
yes.
too.
The thing is if he can develop his game, maybe bump that 3-point percentage up and develop a midi game. My thing is, I kind of miss basketball like DeMar DeRozan or funny enough, Sean Livingston, where they
The
had
midi.
bag and they could shoot that midi, but also, shoot outside a little bit and also drive into the paint and be like a true 3-level threat. I mean, Sean Livingston really wasn't a 3-level threat. Man was just a playmaking mid-range maestro of a guy. But that mid-range game helped with their careers. So I feel like if Dylan Harper could add like his midi or be able to do a little bit more craftiness on his playmaking side to be able to create more open shots for himself, especially playing alongside Wemby, I think that would definitely be something that would be beneficial for that team and for him individually as a player.
You know, I think that Shea is probably the most complete player right now that is in the league, right, Tino? Like, I mean, this guy like can shoot the midi really well, can drive, can shoot three, obviously. Like, the only issue is his flopping, right? What do you think, Tino?
Well, I mean, you could argue that Jalen Brunson is pretty complete too.
Mm,
I feel like
yep,
Jalen Brunson probably plays a little more defense than Shea does.
yep.
I wouldn't say like more, but he's a more of a get in your face defensive player than Shea is.
Hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
like Jalen's definitely willing to go out there and put some feet on the ground and get in front of you and try and stop you and stuff. With Shea, you make one move, get past him, and he's like, all right, I'll just pass you off to the next guy.
Well, that team's just built with a bunch of defensive guys that know what they're doing, and on top of that, you
Yeah.
got a 7-foot center that's in the paint, if anything. So he's not too worried
Hmm.
defensively.
I mean,
Speaking of,
clearly it didn't work against the Spurs. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nah, Chet got his. There was talks about
Bro,
Chet's
Chet
Chet
was
getting his
not
head,
doing
confidence.
anything, bro.
getting
No,
his head,
dude.
bro.
Well, that last game when he only had 4 points on like 2 shots in a elimination game, I was like, nah. I was like, Wemby destroyed his confidence.
Yeah, bro.
He's not
Chet
built
was
for this.
doing nothing, dude.
He's not
That
built
was
for this anymore,
crazy
bro.
to see. No, but
Switching the gears a little bit, guys. Let's talk about LaMelo and Ant-Man.
mm,
Bro, I think
Talk
the
the
about
Timberwolves are
Ant-Man
gonna
and
be
the Wasp.
dangerous.
Ant-Man
Bro,
and the
I think they're
Wasp.
gonna be dangerous.
Expand, Tino. Why do you think that?
Oh, well, because now you've got two playmakers on the team, and if they're able to mesh well and stay within their roles and try and not take the spotlight from each other, that's two very credible threats that you got to worry about. Plus, they retained Julius Randle, right? They re-signed him to like a 3-year deal, I think.
Nah, they traded him to the
They
Brooklyn
Did
Nets,
they?
traded
bro.
him.
Did
Yeah,
they?
which is good.
But
Julius Randle's not good for
not
that
only
team.
that, they had to trade Nas Reed to get LaMelo.
They
Right.
did.
Nas Reed was very good with the Wolves. Very good
I
big
didn't
man.
like that. I didn't
Nope.
like that they had to
Me
trade off
neither.
Nas Reed. Julius Randle, I'm okay with. Get him out of
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh yeah, bro.
I'm not a
Mm.
big fan of Julius Randle just because he's very streaky. He's like a J.R. Smith,
Sometimes he's
just
good,
bigger.
sometimes he's consistent, you know?
He's hella inconsistent, but he's mostly inconsistent on the shitty side,
Yep.
especially during the playoffs. Like this man was absolute butt cheeks in the playoffs. Like what was he doing? He
But
was
how
getting
how do you guys think LaMelo and Ant would play though? Because to me, I see two ball dominant guards, right? I see two ball dominant guards that have to kind of like share like the ball less, or they have to share the ball a lot more, right? And I was talking to some friends about this. Ant-Man have to play a little more of like off ball side more, which I think would be okay, right? But
I think it'd
obviously we
work
see a
out.
lot of maybe we see Ant-Man cutting a lot, getting some dunks. I could see that. Like LaMelo is really gonna find the open man. But how do you think this will play out for the Wolves, right? What do you guys think?
Mm, I guess it depends. So like I think the reason why well, I mean, if you look at the Timberwolves, they don't really have like a solid point guard to really run offense. So then Ant-Man usually has to be the one that's bringing the ball up just because
Uh,
he's one of the best shot creators on that team. He's also the one that is the predominant scorer for that team. He's the number one go-to guy. I feel like once you bring in someone like a LaMelo who can add a lot more to your team, on the offensive side, not so much on the defensive side of things. Um, it's going to help him ease off on having to carry the load, which I mean, right now he's suffering with what Curry has. Uh, Ant-Man has runner's knee.
mm,
So we're going to see how that plays out for this upcoming season and how he's able to develop his game or how much that's going to impact his driving abilities, offensive and defensive capabilities, how he's going to kind of work through those. But I think overall offensively, it's going to be a boost to the team. Now on the defensive side of things, LaMelo isn't the best defender
yep.
that you got. On the perimeter, you can kind of play it off a little bit because Ant Man's a really good defender. Jaden McDaniels is mostly going to be on their best guy on the defensive side of things. Um, I don't even know who would be their power forward. And then you got Rudy
Yeah,
Gobert.
McDaniels. Yeah, McDaniels gonna power forward in this case. I saw like
Yeah,
the potential starting lineup. Yeah, McDaniels at
but
power
he's
forward.
he's going to be guarding the other team's best player. So you got to
Yep.
take him right out the picture for anything down low. It's tough because it may help Rudy Gobert because of how good Lamelo's with passing, but I don't know. Defensively, they may struggle. Offensively, they're definitely going to be one hell of a team to watch.
How do you think this will play out for the Wolves?
Like I said, I think if LaMelo and Ant can mesh well and play off of each other, I think it's going to be really great offensively. Because
Mm-hmm.
Ant-Man, he can shoot the three ball. He can,
Yeah.
but he primarily drives, gets in there, dunks in your mouth. And then LaMelo is all about creating, space and getting shots and getting his shots put up. So, if they can play off of each other in that sense, say Ant-Man makes a couple moves, starts driving to the basket, defense collapse, and then LaMelo is just sitting on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
it could definitely work. But as Isaiah was saying, defense is where they're definitely going to be lacking. I mean, I know they got Rudy Gobert down there, but like, who are going to be your perimeter defenders other than
Right.
Ant?
The thing about LaMelo is he has the potential to actually be a really good defender. I mean, the guy's like 6'7", and even LeBron said that he's very fast. LaMelo's actually really, really fast, right? So I think it's more of an effort thing when it comes to LaMelo, right? So
Yeah. And honestly, a
I don't
change
know.
of scenery might be the boost that he needs to put in
Yeah,
that more effort, you know? Because I mean, let's be honest,
yeah.
he's
Mhm.
been playing with the fucking Charlotte Hornets.
Bro, he's just been playing high school ball in that team. I mean, the shit he was
Yeah,
doing, I mean,
Yeah.
just he was just out there playing with one AirPod on at the park. That's what he was doing, right?
yeah.
So I hope like this. I don't know who's the coach. Who's the coach for the Wolves? Do you know?
I can't remember his name.
But I hope he's able to actually like take LaMelo seriously in terms like of coaching. Like actually like I hope LaMelo can become coachable as well, right? Because once LaMelo actually plays proper basketball, it's raps, dude. Like, I mean, he has so much talent, you
Yeah.
know. So I think it really is up to LaMelo to become that better defender. I mean, he has the physical ability to do it, right? 6'7",
Mhm.
really fast. He's got the reach for it. Um, so like it really is just about him like stepping up to become that defensive player. I mean, he could. He has no reason to, right? Um, on the Hornets side, do you think they're screwed?
What did they get for? Hold on, let me search this up.
Nas Reed, I think is like the most notable one. I mean, they also traded Josh Green to the Wolves, right? Didn't they?
I know the Hornets is kind of like the case with Milwaukee. I know they definitely got a bunch of picks out of it too.
Mm,
And
really?
I think the majority of them were pick swaps. But I think the
Ooh,
earliest one that they got was like 2029 though.
Oh, really?
2028. Yeah, so what was it?
Really?
LaMelo Ball and Josh Green go to Minnesota in exchange. Charlotte receives Nas Reed, a 2033 unprotected first round pick, three first round pick swaps in 2028, 2029, and 2030, and three second round picks.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
It's like all picks, basically.
Yeah.
basically.
Well, look,
Um,
I will say
But
this,
like
guys.
those picks are, a couple years out. So, maybe
Yeah.
I don't know if anti-tanking rule will apply to them, but they might try and tank this year and build a young team.
and
I
that's
will
probably the
say,
best bet for them.
I think like having young guys is very helpful if you have a really good coach. And so far, I've seen it from the Hornets is that I feel the coach lets them play however. You know what I mean? There were some flashes of them beating really good teams. I don't know if you guys remember in the season, but like they were beating some really, really good teams and they were like on a streak, like they were like on a roll there. Um, so I think if you're gonna have a bunch of young guys, all these like new picks or all these rookies or whatever, right? You have to have a very good coach. So I don't think it matters unless you have an actual good coach,
Yeah.
because what we saw with LaMelo, man, it was just like I said, it was just park basketball, man. They were just
Yeah, bro.
playing
The
for
Tino
fun.
Hills days, bro.
Literally,
Facts.
literally. He was doing that on the NBA, man. Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I think this could be a really good thing if the Hornets actually pick up a really good coach instead of having a coach that doesn't play however, right? So like a Mitch Johnson type of coach would be really nice, for example, the Hornets. I think they can get at that level. Um,
Mm.
is there any other notable trades that you guys saw or like any free agent signings, you know?
No, not really. None that I've
Not that I
seen.
could immediately recall. I mean, we're
There
still
was
early in the trades and all that, so
Mm,
there might be a splash or two in the next week or two, but other than that,
there's
right off the
talks
bat, those were
about
the two notable ones.
yeah. There's talks about the Warriors pursuing DeMar DeRozan and DeMontis Sabonis and getting rid of Jimmy Butler,
ooh.
which I would like that. I think that would
Yeah,
be
bro.
great for the Warriors.
Jimmy Butler is, I mean, he's great on the court, but I just feel like there's too much drama involved with him.
Yeah, well, I mean, same to be said about Draymond. We
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I think
true.
loyalty overcomes that when it comes to the Warriors.
here's
But
my thing. I've talked to plenty of people regarding Draymond Green. All right. Not a lot of people like him, but what's to be said is that he's the engine to that team.
Yeah,
Like offensively and defensively. Like Curry's the mastermind behind it all. And
yeah,
that team does not work without Curry. But defensively, that team does not function properly without Draymond Green. Even though he's a hothead, even though he's that man is intellectually smart and knows how to play defense. Being 6'6", 6'7",
Yeah,
and being able to guard the 1 through 5 the way he does is
impressive.
ridiculous. Um, so I don't know. I think the one thing I've been keeping an eye out on is the trade or the draft, right?
Mm.
I love the Warriors draft pick Yexel Landenberg. I think I'm saying that right. Dude is
Mm.
called the Dominican LeBron,
Man.
and he's crazy good.
Dude, bro, Isaiah out here glazing, bro.
Is
Dude,
he like
no,
cat or what?
that's his nickname. That's his nickname. They were calling him that in college, the Dominican LeBron. He was also stated in what was it? I think there was a press conference where he was talking about how excited he is to play for the Warriors.
Mm.
And he's like, "Well, I get to play under Steve Kerr." He goes, he's had a reputation of not really playing rookies." He goes, "So I may or may not get playing time, but with the lineup and the way it is right now, I got a feeling or a really good feeling that I'll be starting the season." I said, "I like that man's confidence."
Bro, that he's 23.
Yeah,
So he's
he's
not like young.
23,
He's not super young.
6'10", and like 235, 240 pounds,
Dude,
something like
I
that.
see right now, 6'9", 240 pounds.
There we go.
That is LeBron. That's LeBron like.
And dude is a 3-and-D type of guy. Some of his highlights were ridiculous. But I
Really.
think the big matchup that we're going to see a lot of the years, the number 1 and number 2 pick going at it this year, AJ Debansa and De'Aaron Peterson. Those are going to be the two to watch out for.
In college, Peterson actually outplayed AJ like
Debansa.
in their matchups, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think AJ is clearly the better player. What do you think, Tino?
I don't know, bro. I didn't watch a lot of college ball.
AJ's
I
just a
mean,
dog. They're both
I mean,
dogs in their own
they're
way.
both they're both really good. But AJ is pretty smooth, man. He's really tall, but he can dribble really well. Obviously, he can shoot, right? Um, he honestly reminds me a lot of PG, to be honest. Very
Mm.
explosive as well, right? So I think AJ DeBonsa is like a PG type of player. Peterson, what do you see Peterson is like, Isaiah?
Yeah, he kind of reminds me a little Kyrie without like the flashy
Yeah.
handles. Like shot creating wise, man's a dog.
Hmm.
Like he can get to his spots. He's very he controls the tempo of the game. So when the ball's in his hand, he is very capable of getting to his spots and figuring out what he wants with it and getting what he wants with it. Whether that's a layup at the rim or a midi pull up or a 3-point step back. Like, he's a very versatile offensive guard that has some
He's 6'6".
defensive. Yeah.
He's tall.
So he's those two I got a feeling are really great additions to the teams they're going to. Um
Hmm.
So I guess the best thing is to see how the year plays out, seeing which one of those guys takes off and kind of go from there. Um,
Oh,
but I think that's
DeBonsa
really
definitely
all
play
I've
young.
got. Yeah. I
DeBonsa. You don't like that?
I don't like how much they paid for Trey Young,
Oh yeah.
personally.
It could just
I
be
think
a
you could have
branding
gotten
feel, man. Maybe Trae Young is one that sells them jerseys, but I don't think they're gonna win anytime soon.
mm-mm. I think their money could have I think they could have at least given they could have given him maybe 140 instead of
Mhm.
200 something million. Give him
Yeah.
140. That still gives you about 70 million cap space to work with, extra cap
Hmm.
space to work with, so that you could bring on someone else that is a little bit more beneficial for the team to have. Don't get me wrong. Offensively, he's a really good guard. I mean, but the tough thing is once he has a really good defender on him that plays physical, his offensive capabilities kind of drop drastically, which is tough because I mean you rely on a point guard nowadays to get you your points or get you the ball in a proper way. And with him, if he's getting defended by like a Jaden McDaniels or
Mhm.
Alex Caruso for those types of people, like the ball is going to become very stagnant with him.
He just gets
So
stronger,
I
to be
don't.
honest. I mean, Brunson's like what, 5'11", 6 foot, right?
Yeah,
Like
he's six
Brunson is
foot.
like tiny, bro. But like he's still able to like go against some elite defenders at that height. So I think either Trae Young expands his bag or he just gets stronger, right? I
Hmm.
think his play style is Curry like, but without the Draymond Green. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but all right, guys. So it looks like we've kind of covered, most of like what we want to talk about the NBA. This was a very good like episode talking about yeah the NBA status. We could talk a little more as more splashes go on in the trades and free
Facts.
agency. So yeah, I guess Tino and Isaiah, you want to close? You guys want to close us out?
Oh my God, the stutter on that.
No, 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 no. It's because of my tooth. It's because of my
It's
tooth,
the
bro. I'll tell
tooth,
you.
bro. It's the tooth.
The
It's not
tooth
the
is
fact that
causing you to
English is his
stutter.
second language.
Uh, one, I would like to thank everyone that has been watching and has been consistent viewers in supporting us and kind of just sitting here and listening to us yap your ears off. Um, two, want to apologize for how long it's been since we have dropped an episode. Life has gotten really busy.
Yep.
Uh, we're going to try to do better about being on top of our podcast and getting that out. Um, so I just want to thank everyone who has been watching or the new viewers that we're getting on. Thank you for viewing our episode and our vlog and sitting here with us and enjoying our time and allowing us to talk about the things that we do talk about.
Tino,
Yeah, like what Isaiah said, appreciate all you viewers. Hopefully next week we can record another episode and drop it. And who knows, we might have a special guest next week.
yep.
Teaser, maybe not a teaser. We'll see what happens. Schedules get in the way and life gets in the way sometimes. Um, and let me think. What are we going to talk about next week? I know the NFL is
Depending.
right around the corner.
So what is?
Mm-hmm.
There's less than 100 days to kick off. There's teams are in
Oh, the
OTAs now.
NFL.
Training camp just ended and stuff. So
Yep.
Mm.
we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see what next
Uh,
week has. Keep also just a big thing too. Keep track on our social medias. We'll be kind of posting about certain topics, potential, depending on what you guys want us to talk about. Send us your thoughts and opinions that way so we can kind of figure out kind of what to gauge our next conversation on too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Hit us up on Instagram at the Breakaway Trio, TikTok.
Yes, the
Yep.
Breakaway Trio.
Please engage with us. We want these topics to come to us, whichever you want. And yeah, we will be having more special guests as time goes on. And we'll also be posting clips of our podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and our social medias. So you'll see samples of what we talk about. But all
Agree.
right, guys, it's been very good to see you, gentlemen, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Catch you guys
Deuces.
later with the Breakaway
Yeah.
Trio.
Yeah.